What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another scooter video. My name is Chase Ross, and I've been going to skate parks for literally over half my life. So I understand skate parks can be a little bit intimidating. Actually, let me just paint this picture for you. It's your first time at a park, you don't know anyone, and you're a bit nervous. Heck, maybe you've never even hit a ramp bigger than like 2 feet. And just as you drop in for the first time, cram! You get clobbered by some dude going like 1,000 miles an hour. Literally, that was me like 20 years ago, so don't feel bad if this has happened to you. So, that's actually going to be why I'm making today's video. I'm going to give you the rundown on everything that you guys need to know before you roll up to a skate park. The tips on today's list are not only going to give you some mad respect at the skate park, but it's also going to help make you look like a veteran, even if it's your very first time rolling up to the park. So, without any more hesitation, let's roll that intro and let's get this thing going already. Alright, let's get serious. Are you guys ready for the first one? Let's go. Wear a helmet. I know. Captain Obvious over here. But seriously, after this one, I promise we're gonna get into some serious tips, so let's just first get this out of the way. Wear a freaking helmet. Trust me, the only riders that are gonna last long enough to even become a pro rider are gonna be wearing helmets. So take care of your body and just put on some dang pads. I'm being serious. So let's now get into the actual tips. Up first, skate parks have some secret languages that I'm gonna try to explain to you because they kind of don't make sense if I'm being honest. The simple head nod. This can actually mean a few things. For example, obviously it's a way to say, hey, what's up? Hey. But not so obvious, it's also a way to say, yo, I'm about to drop into that ramp over there. And then there's also the point. This is a good one to know unless you want to play some chicken head to head with some other dude at the park. Spoiler, you don't. So let's run the scenario. Say you're going head to head with some dude at the park and you're riding by real fast. Just simply point in the direction that you're gonna go and the other rider will know which way you're gonna go. This can help mitigate any crashes or any confusion when you're at the park and also just help you have a much smoother skate park day. Or maybe in a crowded skate park scenario, you can watch out for other riders pointing at ramps. You'll probably notice that they're riding toward the ramp and they're about to actually hit it if they're pointing at it. So just kind of keep your head on a pivot and watch out for the point. On to the next tip now. Since we're already talking about riding a crowded park, let's talk about how to know when it's your turn to drop in. This is actually a really tricky one, so pay close attention to this one. For starters, look around to see if there's anyone about to drop in. If they look like they're about to drop in, they're probably about to go and it's probably their turn. So don't snake them. Now let's work on your memory and try to keep a mental tally of who's going and who hasn't gone yet. 9 out of 10 times, you'll start to see a pattern of riders and you'll be able to figure out what order they're going in. And you'll also be able to find a natural gap. Trust me, there's always a gap. Even at super busy skate parks, there will always be a gap. I personally like to watch for the flow of riders when I'm putting my pads on, and I can kind of spot that gap when I'm just getting ready, and before I even roll up to the first lip of the ramp, I already know when my turn is gonna be without even establishing it yet. So just kind of keep a mental tally of who's gone and who hasn't gone, and when you see the gap arise, boom, all the riders now know it's your turn, and when that pattern comes around the next time, everyone's gonna know it's your turn to drop in, and there will actually be a little bit of a gap made for you. So find the gap and take your turn. Alright, let's move on to the next tip now. This one's gonna cover how to get used to the ramps at the park. Especially, this is gonna help if this is your first time ever going to that park. You're gonna wanna ride the park in chunks. This will allow you to familiarize yourself with each of the ramps. And then once you've got every ramp at the park down, you'll be able to link them all together and to actually start flowing the park. This will instantly help you look like you've been going to the park for years. So definitely start small and then work your way up to linking the whole park together. Side note, if you can actually link every ramp in the park, it's actually a pretty respectable thing to see, given you're not snaking anyone while you're doing that, of course. So that'll also help build up some respect and skate park cred. But alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next one now. Let's talk about our rides. Dial your scooters before you get to the park. I kid you not, I've seen riders roll up. Actually, I take that back. I've seen riders half push up to the park because they couldn't actually even ride their scooter. It was so unfunctionable. So when they got up to the park, they spent their entire session literally fixing their scooter. They could have been riding, but no, they were fixing their scooter and they couldn't even ride. So let's put this simply. If you want to ride, make sure your ride is ready to go before you get to ride. Make sense? Cool. Oh, plus also, it kind of stinks to have to beg other people at the park for tools, especially if you didn't bring your own. So that leads us into the next tip. Bring your own tools. Not only will you be able to fix your own scooter, but you'll also be able to help fix other people's scooters, skateboards or bikes, whatever, it don't matter. This is also a great way to actually meet friends at the park. Sometimes just sharing a simple Allen key can make you guys friends for life. So bring a whole array of tools, and who knows, you might just meet your next homie for life, you know, just shredding at your local park. But all right, let's get back to the actual park now. How do you learn all of the lines at the park? What I like to do personally is watch other riders and what they are doing. Sometimes I can see what lines are taking and how they're doing it, and then I can learn it for myself and imitate that and do the exact same lines, and then or even learn the lines plus my own lines, and then kind of merge the two together and just have some fun with it. So take a moment to kind of watch what other riders are doing, how they're hitting the jumps, and see if you can basically do the same thing or put your own twist on it and make it even cooler. And moving on to the next tip now, try to find some other riders around the park that are about the same skill level as you. You guys can help each other navigate the park, and this can also help you build up some confidence because it allows you to kind of ride the park in a pack. If you try to ride a ramp by yourself, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to actually hit the ramp repeatedly by yourself because you kind of get intimidated when someone else comes over to the ramp. So if you got a couple friends riding the same ramp, you guys can kind of like, I don't want to say dominate the ramp, but you can kind of like hang out together and shred the ramp a little bit longer than you would be able to if you were just by yourself. So find some people that are about the same level of riding as you. Doesn't matter if they ride a different sport than you. You guys can still ride the same ramps and still have some fun together. Also, another great way to meet some friends, just find some other people that are riding about the same level as you. Now let's move on to the next tip, and let's talk about how to ride a skate park that's not crowded. It can for sure be a little intimidating to ride a park that is like super packed, and it's like it's intimidating even for me. I've been riding skate parks literally 20 years, and when I roll up to a park that's like just packed around the brim of the bowl with like riders back to back to back, it's hard to find my line, find my time to go. It's tricky. So what I try to do is get to the park before about 11 a.m. If you can get to the park before noon, you're going to be set for a really solid session because you'll be able to get there before everyone's kind of rolling out of bed, and you'll be able to ride the park, get used to the ramps while there's like no one there, or even just maybe a couple people there. So then by the time the actual main crowd comes there, you'll already be part of that cycle of going. So like you won't have to look for your turn. You'll just know because you're literally already riding at the park. Everyone else who's getting to the park is going to have to learn when they can actually jump in line. So go to the park a little bit early if you want to avoid the crowds. Now this next one's a funny one, yet ironically it happens way more often than it should. If you need to take a break at the park, don't use a ramp or ledge. I see this happen so often with parents specifically. They see a ledge just about like, you know, hip height, and they're like, oh, yo, that looks like a solid seat, and my kid's over here riding like 2 feet away from me anyway, so let's just sit here. Trust me, you'll probably get some of the riders at the park a little angry, especially if they're like mid hitting that ramp at the same time. Some people will literally just like roll up to the ramp and ride it while you're sitting on it instead of asking you to kindly move. Don't do that, first off. That's another tip. But first off tip is don't sit on the ramp, so this scenario don't even have to happen. Just, you know, find a bench. There's usually a bench by the park or maybe some grass surrounding the park, and you can chill there and take a break. But now I got a question for you. Do you have any skate park tips that you want to add? Comment them down below. I'd love to see them, and I know everyone watching this video would love to see all the tips that you guys got for us. Now, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to share this video with any rider that you think could benefit from this. The goal here is to help with confidence and help new riders get into the skate park. So if you know a new rider, send this video to them, and let's hopefully get our whole skate park crowd growing even more. As well, if you liked today's video, give me a big old thumbs up and smash that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.